How's everybody doing? Fantastic. Let's give a big round of applause for Carol McGranahan, okay? Please. Professor at CU Boulder, and she's been a long time Tibet supporter and a scholar, excellence, you know, and she's obviously written many books, she's written many papers, she still teaches, but she's one of the experts on Jujigambu. I'm not an expert, I'm just a very rebellious guy. So, but I've done my share of research. I spent about 10 years reading every single book available, including her book and all the other books. I've spent reading every single dissertation that I could get hold of, PhD dissertation. There are some that has not been published. I got to read some of that too, and then interviews. So this journey for me started 13 years ago. Is it okay if I speak in Tibetan? Because we Tibetans have a lot of language police. Yeah, just social media. Oh yeah, oh yeah, nobody should have done it until now. Right? Maybe picket, kanda picket yashiyo da ya. Picket yana ya koran kashi goto marwa. Chulo me mamu doa. An lo chuma kanda mamu. Ko de boyo. Oh, so bonke me uche. So inchi kil gaida. Oh yeah. So my journey with this story started 13 years ago, and a lot of you know me over the years because of my work. I've been a long-time activist for Tibet. So when I did the math recently, it's been exactly 31 years since I've been a Tibetan activist in North America and and elsewhere. I'm a very ordinary guy. I've always had very fire, volcano-like passion since I was a child, and my Tibetan understanding and my Tibetanness, it grew much more stronger after I came to the U.S. To North America as a Tibetan refugee many years ago. Because I was born and raised in Darjeeling, and I went to an Irish Catholic boarding school. So when we grew up, we knew our parents had escaped Tibet, we knew our grandparents, they escaped Tibet and they suffered and all that. So we knew the basics that everybody knew. And I was super young. But after I came to America, the whole identity and, So anyway, so my journey started 13 years ago. I was doing music. I was the first Tibetan to play professional rock music and heavy metal music in the world. First Tibetan. You guys can clap? Yeah. Back then, about 25 years ago when I was gigging, when I was playing, I had long hair. I also had a job in a bank. I was a banker. But a lot of people just saw my long hair and my earrings and my clothing, and then a lot of people spread the rumor saying Shenpan has become homeless. Because I was playing guitar, and I used to play guitar in the subway too in New York City. So anyways, long story short, my journey has been very interesting, very tough, very lonely, because I was doing something that no Tibetan was doing. Even since I was a young teenager. My dear aunt, my auntie is here, she lives here, Aunt Throng, those who know. She knows since I was a little kid, I was very rebellious. My asham is also here, somewhere Chinchola. So I was the black sheep in the house, I was the black sheep in the community. And I find it interesting because today, wherever I go, everybody says, oh, Shambhala has changed so much and he's become so, this and that. Because I actually haven't changed, my dear. I am the same Shenpan. Hindi ke goche mein khacho hai Hindi. Manga gochura. मैं बदला नहीं हूँ वही. बस आप लोगों ने मुझे पहचानने में थोड़ा समय ले लिया बस. हाँ. So what I'm trying to say is, I'm trying to speak to the younger people. All you young Tibetans here, we need dreamers. We desperately need dreamers. We are not a small population. We are a dwindling population. So every single one of us should have this utter sense of urgency and a big sense of responsibility and duty towards our lost nation. Manzo lumba shurge mirelani nimachi temajaya yung anda. So mitita kegi orba. Ine ta lochunga tenzula. All you young kids, I want you to dream. I want you to believe in yourself. I want you to know that you are capable of achieving and accomplishing anything you want. Anything. You can become anything you want. It requires a lot of discipline, focus, ambition, knowledge. You have to up your skills. You have to keep learning. But you are capable of doing anything you want. And now, more than ever before, we Tibetans desperately need dreamers. And I will tell you something from my personal experience. All you young folks, please dream. Please. And then protect your dreams. Make sure you dream, but you protect your dream. And I promise you, if you protect your dream will guide you. It has guided me. And now I'm the first Tibetan, right? Not just winning awards and all that. I really don't care about all that. But I'm the first Tibetan to write, direct, compose music in a Bollywood film and in a Hollywood film now. My next film is the first Tibetan vampire movie. We usually don't talk about budget, but because we Tibetans have been so in the world of cinema, I am a very small filmmaker. This film is a very small film, but with a very big heart. Kundun was made for $30 million almost 30 years ago by the great Martin Scorsese. 30 million. Saya Lo 7 years in Tibet with Brad Pitt was made for $70 million. Shenpen Kimsar made this film now for less than $1 million. And I shot this film in record time, 19 days. It is impossible to make a film in 19 days of this potential, this caliber. So what I'm trying to say is, what I'm trying to say is, if I can do it, you can do it too. You just have to believe in yourself. And it is about time. It is about time we tell our own stories. It is about time we take control of our narrative. It is about time we feel proud. It is about time. It is about time we all say we are Tibetans. And I made this film for every single Tibetan inside and out. I did not make this film for Kambas. I did not make this film for Uzangs. I did not make this film for, Amdos. I did not make this film for my father or my uncle or my family. I made it for every single one of you. Nanzo Debula, Keranzo Nala Ichicha, this coming Ichi, Tebacha Ichicha. Nanzo Debula, Uzangmi Kazu, Lapachi Yakam, Uzangmi. Sama Povachi Yaga, Lapa. Uzangmi ya. Okay. I'm going to be Kazu. I'm going to be. Okay. Wa. Hamba Kazu. Okay. Dalapa Masha. Nanzo Debula, Peba Kazu. Oh, this is important. We are all Tibetans. We have all lost our country. So don't forget that. So Manzo Buki Nyokta Chigua, Chomi Nyokta, Tamshawa, Manzo Tamani Tamshawa. We should not participate nor contribute in that kind of nonsense. Well, our focus is not even the Chinese people. Our focus is the Chinese government. And I truly believe, and I'm not some dumb guy, trust me, I believe that Tibet will be free. I believe that we can get our country back. So for that, Manzo Nyamrum Chimne, Nuba Tsamba Pum, Dosa Chikti Chegota. Okay? Very good. All right. I also want to thank everybody that supported and introduced this event here, that organized. There's so many names, I cannot name it right now. We will name afterwards. After the film, there is a Q&A. 맞아, 제가 제일 movie time can have to 돼 만들었지. 제가 제일 패키지 거예요. 제가 제일 파츠 장야 누가 만들어야 돼. 로추가 된줄 누가 만들어야 돼. 딩쇠 파리알라 생당 리포터네 누가 만들어야 돼. 이 패키지 거다. 딱 맞아 패키라 I'm going to say something in Tibetan. 이 맞아 배워 남자진 저기다. 조금 그래. 맞아 배워라 진짜 만나지 가야지. 잡사 만나지 줘야지. movie cover 전에라. movie 고추라 까만 레일라 배워. 찍기 그거도 단답하지 근데 맞추지 무비 따는 걸로 봐 정말 양호치 따로지 아니 가시기 폰라 라이브 이때 지하요 만나 달리 먹고 하면 서버 아프 딱 되게 남조치 나게다 아니 비디오 게임 페이스북도 이때 맞추지 선로 비슷한 너 완전 남배출 냠내 지내지 있어요 남배출 고층에 나타 뺏 통계 체고 연대 체고 시럽다 이 시기 강대교 띵싸고 포기하는 것은 땅에 보기였다. 그때 뒤 만다. So 투지체, and please stick around. I want to now before we start the film. We're a few minutes late, but it's okay. I want to acknowledge you met Carol, right? Now I want to introduce. For me, this is a very big deal. For me, I want to introduce Mr. Bruce Walker, the only living CIA officer who trained. He trained the first group. 나중에 출신한 놈이 Colorado train chicken. 그러나 공동 우측 공입니다. 뭐야 야샤나.
I wanted to say that I'm very pleased and honored to be here today with you and to share this film with you, as well as to meet old friends of mine who are related to Wangchut Tsering and Tenzin Henry. I've met some of you when I came in, and I hope to see you again so I can chat some more before the question and answer forum. In the last 50 years, you all know that Hollywood has made big wartime movies about battles, movies about people fighting for their country, for their values, and getting killed in the process. Hollywood has made hundreds of them. Hollywood has made thousands probably. And the fact remains that in the last 50 years, there were at least many Hollywood producers and famous actors, Richard Gere and Steven Seagal, to name two of them, who were very interested in Tibet, who gave serious contributions and promotions of the Tibetan resistance. And they all said, and I heard Richard Gere tell me that he wanted to make a movie about the Tibetan resistance. And there were others in Hollywood who said it's time to make a movie about the Hollywood resistance that is meaningful and that is true. The fact remains means that after all that talk, all of that interest has declined in Hollywood. There were no producers who thought it was timely or wanted to make a movie about the resistance of Tibet. And of course now we have a young Sean Penn who has bested all of them in Hollywood by becoming the first person to make a movie in the Mustang about the Tibetan resistance. And I just want to take my hat off to the guy because he deserves great thanks and patience, thanks and gratitude for his long-time project, but it's now been completed. It's the first non-Hollywood movie about a serious, real, wartime resistance subject that will appeal to everybody after they've seen this movie if they've never heard the words Chushigam-dru. The words Chushigam-dru will come back in your heads and we'll remember it. I've been to Tibet. In 1997, I spent a week in Tibet with two of my CIA colleagues. We rented a Toyota Jeep with a Chinese driver and a Tibetan guide. We spent a week. We toured Lhasa, Shibetsi, Gyatso, drove across the country to Tingri Zone, and then down back to Nepal. It was a sad week and a glad week in many ways because the Tibet that we saw, although it was being spoiled, was never something, it was always still something that we could take pleasure in seeing and being. Like in the Potala, we saw the wonderful butter lamps. As you go in, we went into the Dalai Lama's bedroom to see what it looked like, and we walked down outside the Potala to the ground. We went to the Norbalinka. We saw the Dalai Lama's quarters there in Norbalinka. So it was a memory I'll never forget, and I wouldn't go back today because it would break my heart again to see it. But I'm glad to be here with the Tibetan community and to see that you're turning out for a wonderful experience tonight. I'm looking forward to it. And I want to take my hat off to you very much.
Mr. Bruce Walker, everybody. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
For sound and for music, we now know why. We now also see a story told beautifully, with a poignancy, with a seriousness, with emotion that's still in my throat. And I want to start the Q&A with one question that I think is at the heart of the movie. Whether you already knew the story of Chushigam-dru, of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And so I wanted to start with that as our first question for Sean Penn. One of the things that truly stands out in this film that we have just seen is the safe escorting of His Holiness the Dalai Lama to India, bringing him safely. And I wanted to ask you to speak about that.
You mean in terms of the filming? Firstly, thank you so much. Thank you so much for exhibiting and showing this kind of unprecedented turnout and unity in our community. And this has been everywhere, every single city I've gone to. The emotions, the pride, the joy, the sadness and the pain, all of it together, you know, it has been absolutely unlike anything I have experienced in my life. And like I said earlier, I made this film because we need to tell our story. I made this film because His Holiness is 90 years old. I made this film because these warriors, all these warriors, they deserve the due respect. I made this film because of all these young Tibetans who are born and raised in exile. I made this film for every single Tibetan because I know that nerve. I know what we need. It hasn't been easy. But one thing is evident right now all over the world, wherever I am, wherever I go with the film. Something like this, whether it was me who made it or anyone else, but something like this was desperately needed in our community. And it is so evident everywhere you go in the world, everywhere, every city. There are so many Tibetans, unprecedented in the history. We've never seen Tibetans line up outside for blocks in New York, in Toronto, in Vancouver, or Portland, Boston, you know, Minnesota. Even at the festival in Iowa, there was 500 Republicans, Americans. You know, we've never seen like this. And so what does that say? It doesn't say anything about me. I'm just the conduit, I'm just the medium. It says that something like this was desperately needed. So it is our collective responsibility to do whatever we can to tell our stories with pride, with dignity, with integrity, with intelligence, you know? So thank you so much for being here. This means the world to me and to my entire team. So unfortunately, none of my actors could be here today because, you know, to take all my actors to everywhere is a lot of expense. And I don't have a Hollywood budget. I don't have a Bollywood budget. So on behalf of all my team and my actors, I thank you very much. So let's give a big round of applause for my actors, please. Nandu, Tamiya 99% of them were all first-time actors. Most of them have never faced the camera. Nobody knew how to ride horses. Nothing. But they worked so hard. They were not allowed to shower as soon as they reached Nepal till we finished shooting. Nobody was allowed to shower, even me, because I wanted us to be psychologically there. So with very limited budget, with limited resources, you know, I was the captain of the ship, but all my guys, all my team, my actors, my production team, my camera team, my light team, my costume department, hair and makeup, you know, SFX, special effects, VFX, CGI, you know, all my musicians, everybody, about 500 people by the time I was done making this film. So it takes an army to make a film. And I stand here on behalf of every one of them, and I thank you one more time so much. So, Carol's question was about His Holiness's escape. How did I treat it? How did I film it? So I had obviously read, you know, His Holiness's first book, My Land, My People. There's a lot of that, reference. And then I saw Kundun by Scorsese, Martin Scorsese, and then I saw 7 Years in Tibet. So what I noticed is in that escape scene, and even in India they made a film online, some TV station in India called The Great Escape. So there's been many documentaries, films, books, but especially in a film, what I noticed was that His Holiness's, the escape was not, emotionally, it was not the way I wanted to see it or feel it. Especially when he reaches the border and he turns back. That should be a very, very powerful moment. Can you imagine? His Holiness is so young at that time, and he's looking back at Tibet for the last time in his life. Can you imagine how emotionally heavy it is? So I treated that scene with that same kind of emotions and delicacy, and very fragile and sensitively and emotionally, and intelligently. So my briefing, you guys will see a documentary coming out later after this film is released and after we sell the film. There is a documentary called The Himalayan Robin Hood, The Making of 4 Rivers, 6 Ranges. So you will see how I briefed Tashi Kalden, who played His Holiness. Give him a big round of applause. He did an amazing job. I don't mean to be biased, but I think my Dalai Lama in this film is better than all the other Dalai Lamas I've seen in movies. So that border scene was so important to me. And I briefed him, and you guys will see how I briefed him in the documentary. So for me, that scene, I was just telling my aunt at the back, when His Holiness turns back and looks at Tibet, that scene is the heartbeat of this film. This entire film's heartbeat is that scene. So I wanted to make sure, and that music that you heard, even during the funeral when Kempu's body was being burned, all that music, I composed it in my kitchen, because before the film was shot, I saw the film in my head. Right, so I see the whole film. I see how I'm moving with the cameras and the actors, what I'm seeing, everything. So for me, music came naturally because I felt whatever emotions I felt, I played on the piano and on the guitar, and I recorded that. And then later on, I went to Prague and to Czech Republic, Prague, because I always wanted to work with a symphony. So there's 50-piece chamber. The symphony orchestra, the cello, the violin, the trumpet, the mangush tangi doa, mi ngam chu chu tangi doa. Mi suk naku kenenta do that. So that orchestra is here. So the orchestra they play grand chale music. So ngara dile chinge pe dobai ne mane. The music soya ne soya da da dang da sama. And then I went to Prague. And Prague is really consuming the sondoche. So I recorded with them and they did such an amazing job. I was blown away. But I stand in front of you so humbled and so deeply grateful and so fortunate. I consider myself to be the most fortunate Tibetan under the sky. I do. Because one, I am doing what I love. Not many people can say that. Two, I got to be the one to make this film and represent us in front of the entire world. And I will promise you, outside in front of the whole world, I will not let you down. I will hold my head up and I will hold Tibet's dignity and integrity held up. So it is that important. So please, everybody, please encourage each other. I want everybody to walk out of here with a lot of semshuk today. Can I just semshuk macharo chair? Ma semshuk chamela. That long edit to serve boy, must be catching it. Drum so drum shake boy. So yeah. So thank you so much, Carol. Anybody else has a question?
I think, Sibila, you remember your last visit to California. Before, the screening of in the middle of the shooting, when you were doing about this Chushigaru, I hope you remember I told you about the fragment. So that I didn't think I was the gate the Minala. So we used to ask every time, what is your role in your group? It's a gate not as much as the thing about as an Koran has to combination of the years and the June that Sugo Nation, the Gibarucha, the betrayed the sales one. The dinner Chapas Mude, Paladuna After choosing to misuse it, and it just in this self for the guys. A Palad Rodi, and being the youngest one. Facility you have, facility you have in Tagares, Tajuki is one. Facility very Bushandi, and the day when is showing and giving and somebody gave me passing, somebody to say the rest of what. Yes, he is such a problem and not with the fragmenting energy to so today I saw my father here, precisely in I am and he's still alive, 94. I'm on my TC. Still there. 3 of them still alive. So I saw my father here, the one who holds the flag. So this is real what he used to tell me before this one. And before having this movie, I told him once that I have a story. He's supposed to be a fragment. And he told me, yeah, it's interesting, maybe someday you just send me the story. And I met a journalist in Delhi. She wrote about, and she's a Muslim. And she's supposed to write a book about my dad, but because of some family problems, she has to move to America. So it is not completed, but the drafting still I have. So I saw my father. I'm so fortunate to
Thank you. Okay, I appreciate it. Please. So, I kind of remember him sending me something, and I read a little bit. But see, when you're making a film, and when you've spent 10 years researching, right? You should be doing as much research as possible, as unbiasedly as possible. So I actually already knew about that. I didn't know it was your father or who's, because there are so many people right now who come up to me and say, oh, Now I'll tell you something. Ideally, I wanted to have 500 horses and 500 Chushigandu, I wanted that. But to have 500, I need a lot of money. You need 500 horses. To shoot that kind of big, you need a lot of technical support. There's so much that goes. So I didn't have that kind of money. So 소소 뽑아터네 소소 좀더 시기에 아주 참아 니기 뽑아지 니기 빼 축제부 통도 니 하장 빼 개주걸 약벌도 니디 가르쳐 것도 쓰는 좀 독서 직접 빼 통도 다니 가와터네 super 개주슈딩이 가르쳐 쓰나 there's a lot of healing that is happening a lot of closure because 니기 코란도 코란을 놓쳐야 돼 투수 민 막고 싶 투수 투지 체시 벨라라니 말아 이 빨라도 이만 좀씩 용에 아무 좀씩이네 너무 고치 되게 영타만 그 처음에 이렇게 좀 망고치는 냠대로 시계 시에서 말아 아니 좀시에나 딜 만디 대중체 아니 남절라 딜 코란조 파워도 졸라 만절이 간다고도 제거야 부셔게 제마투 대신에 세법불로 나자디 키대요 다 무비 되게 전에 상만 맥주단 상만 so 되게 상담 리페이터네 되게 멘션이 차기요 세법 디 ngala pe masiki chue so cutting che tuji che
in our community and you already said that we are united. This is the proof. Our wishing here is that you have made such a wonderful movie. What are the chances of getting lots of awards from Bollywood how can you reach there? That's my question.
so this Quran ki chuwa kita movie ti yapo swedo ani ta 잡을래 메소레 망고 라야가 같이 가르쳐 버렸어. 라. 딱 이렇게라 저라 깨졌지라. I am an artist. I'm not an entertainer. So ngeki, when I make music or when I make movies, I don't make it to entertain people. I don't make it to become famous or to win awards. I don't. And I think you should never do it like that. You should do it because you have something to say. You should make the film because you have a story to tell. And you are desperate to tell that story. You should play music because it heals you, it helps you, it inspires you. So what I'm trying to say is, please, do not chase money. Do not chase awards. Do not chase success. Chase excellence. Be excellent at what you do. If you're a cook, be an excellent cook. If you're a gardener, be an excellent gardener. If you're a musician, be an excellent musician. Now, there's an interesting thing that happens. When you chase excellence, success will follow. If you chase success, the chances of you not being successful is very high. And if you do become successful, the chances of you being a very, very selfish, successful man is also very high. But if you chase excellence, it becomes a very spiritual journey. When it becomes a very spiritual journey, it will also help you evolve yourself as a human being. And so your sensitivity and your sensibility will be heightened, and your expansiveness will happen. So, long story short, I really don't care about awards and all that. You know, because I didn't make this film to win awards. I made this film to respond to the Chinese narrative. I made this film because we owe it to our heroes. I made this film because I am Tibetan. That's it. This guy is Tashi Thandu. I've never met him. I've only heard of him. Chungri Lagyal's son. Chungri Lagyal is the guy, you know Tamding? The tattoo guy? In the movie Thongse, Tamding. So Tamding played his father's role.
Without wasting much time, I want to say thank you to Shankara on behalf of all the Tibetans, especially those who sacrificed their lives for our country, which is still there. Because His Holiness is in India and is alive and doing all the things that we have imagined. We are remembered in the world because of our Dharma, because of our Buddhist philosophy, because of its widespread, compassionate human feelings, we are respected. And Chuchi Gan was first people who started from Kham and Amdo. They named the group as Tezon Thana Mami to safeguard Buddhism. Imagine, they never said, they were not aware of safeguarding our country. They said, we will save Buddhism because communist China, at that time, they were the ones who toppled the regime before communism. China became communist. Yeah, Kuomintang. So Kuomintang was ruling China, and Tibet lost